Hello everyone, this is Henry Lamju and this is Raise Your Game. The last episode we were able to talk about life as a game. I said that the concept of life is an abstract one and that you require metaphors, anecdotes and similes to try to explain what the concept of life was, and I chose an algorithm, a particular metaphor for which we're going to discuss on this blog, Raise Your Game, and that is life as a game. So raise your game, life as a game, you raise your game. We'll continue on that pathway of talk today, looking at what the realities of people are while they go through this game, while you walk through the path of life. And one of the most important things and challenges that people face is attempting to do something and finding out that they fail at those same things. And that is one of the causes of frustration, that people have attempting to do things and failing. If you look at all through life, the waves of crime that we have, the problems that people have, all boil down to attempting to do something and failing at those things. If there was no such issue about trying and failing, then probably the life would just be a roller coaster. Everybody's just enjoying themselves and having fun. But that is not the reality that people face. The reality that people face is that they set a target and they miss it. They plan to run a company, start a company from scratch, and try to build up a company into a multinational corporation, and they find out that you just can't. People try to write an exam and they fail. People try to write a software, it doesn't work. People try to engage themselves in some sports, hoping that they get to the top of their game. Currently, the Rio 2016 is going on, and a lot of people find themselves at the bottom of the ladder. They're not getting their gold, they're not even getting silver, not getting bronze. So there are a lot of frustrations in people attempting to do something and failing at them, especially when they look at it and say that the people who get these things done are not quite different from who they are. They see that the same people who went through the same schools or were raised in the same backgrounds as they were are the same kind of people who get these results. So people look at other people doing great things and say, oh, if this guy can do it, then I surely can do it. And they try to get those things done. They set goals. If Mr. A can start a company from scratch from his garage and build up into a multinational corporation, then probably I, who also went through the same process, may be able to do exactly the same thing. So people look at what others are doing, compare themselves with those people, and say that based on the fact that this guy doesn't have two heads, he grew up in similar conditions like I grew up, he looks like me, he talks like me, he walks like me, then I can get exactly the same result that he got. So they try to do those things and they fail, and that is a major cause of frustrations and disabilities that people have in the world. But here at Raise Your Game, our plan is to try to help people see through the difficulties that they have and look at it as, if this were a game, what are the things that you need to know, or what are the things that you need to understand? We need to first know that, number one, the difference between people who are successful and those who are not successful is not about how much intellect they've got. The intellectual difference is not about the physical dexterity. It's not about how much cash they have. It's not about things on the outside that you can look at and say, based on this and this and this, that then I can also do this. The difference in people is about the experiences that they've gone through. The differences that make successful people successful and the unsuccessful unsuccessful is that the successful people attempted at stuff, they probably failed, but they didn't stop there. They had to keep going on, and they had to go through the process of learning. They had to go through different learning curves until they got to the point where they became successful. They broke through. And so when you look at it, you find out that being able to succeed is actually a process. It's not you don't just get there in one day. You don't just wake up and become a success. Success is a series of events that eventually culminates in a person becoming a success. Alright, so success is a series of events that eventually culminates in a person becoming a success, such that whatever it is that they attempt to do, they become successful at it. You don't become successful by trying to do things. You become successful by being a success. And what happens, what this really means is that people go through a process of change. People go through processes of change, stages of change that help them build them up to become something, and they're able to move on. And this process, I like to liken it to what the biologists call metamorphosis. Metamorphosis is not that it's just a big word, but has a simple meaning. It just means transformation. But according to the biologists, metamorphosis is basically a series of changes in structure and function that an organism goes through until it gets to the adult stage. Metamorphosis is quite very interesting because it just tells you that if you look at it biologically, that an egg becomes a caterpillar becomes a pupa, and a pupa becomes an adult. Now, if you look at these things, what the egg cannot do, the caterpillar can do. What the caterpillar cannot do, the pupa can do. What the pupa cannot do, the adult can do. So in life, in the process of attaining your dreams and your goals, you have to understand that there are certain things that you may have the potential to achieve and accomplish and attain, but until you go through the process of metamorphosis, you will not be able to attain those things. In fact, you will find out that what the caterpillar finds very, very impossible to do, for example, like the caterpillar of a butterfly, it can't fly. It can only crawl one step at a time. It can't eat anything farther. It can look at the other tree and see juicy fruit or juicy leaf over there that it wants to attain to eat, but it can't live where it is because it can't fly. However, the butterfly can't crawl, which means by the time you go through your process of metamorphosis, what was very difficult for you becomes the easiest thing. What was the norm for you becomes almost impossible. The butterfly can't crawl. So what you felt was normal for you becomes your abnormal. You have to learn to go through metamorphosis if you're going to get through these things in life. I'm going to share more about this in my next post, so just stay tuned, because all we just want to do is to help you raise your game. Once again, I'm Henry Lamiju. Catch you next.